Yes, if you see it over here, you're shrinking. This camera isn't even on.
I don't think I turned it on, or did I? I don't know that I did.
It's on.
Is it on?
Yeah. But it's not up here. This is the web.
That is.
Why this isn't even on a tripod like after all these years?
Why do I can't from there? You can't move it up any further, because if you move it up any further, it pulls the cord. That was just like.
No, I wasn't pulling it up. I was just trying to turn it so you're not getting the pillar. This
This whole thing is messed up. What is this over here? This screen. What is this screen showing me?
This is what's going out. Do you want to go? Are you not used to this?
No.
You can go back to get out of the studio. There you go. That's what's going out.
Just gonna be whatever it is today. I don't know what the hell happened.
You're missing a total. You're missing camera number 2.
Yeah. I don't know why though.
Because it isn't up there. It isn't here. So here's camera 2 here. Oh.
Isn't that? That's not. Yeah, that's.
Yes, that is. So you don't need 2 wide angles. Well, that's that. That's the wide angle. And then this one you could. Okay, that's how you could go between just over here. That's your pulpit. That's your wide zone. You could set that somewhere in between because you don't need 2 wide angles. I'm just going to push it over to the other pulpit, the other way. Or on the piano. Okay. All right, so this is how you. It gets me, and the mixer's up. Is the mixer on?
Yeah. Which way is the? Is this on? Is this volume on?
Use this here.
It doesn't matter. I don't need that.
Well, it's not coming up.
What isn't coming up?
The sound. This is coming from one of the cameras. This is not. This is the mixer here.
into our house of hope and love, of peace and justice, of wholeness and healing. Come in where we welcome the certain and the seeking, the long-timers and the newcomers, the beloved and the brokenhearted. All of you can find a home here at Throop, where we go all over the world from the heart of Pasadena and from the heart of our homes. Good morning, those of you joining us on the live stream today. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. Dr. King wrote that power at its best is love, implementing the demands of justice. And justice at its best is love, correcting everything that stands against love. In today's worship, we'll be encouraged to join our hands and hearts together as we move toward more love and justice in the world. And on this Sunday, we are so pleased to welcome special guests from Temple Isaiah. Hello, all of you. Welcome into Throop. Temple Isaiah is a Reformed synagogue in West Los Angeles. And this group is part of an adult education class that is learning about different religions. After the service, Cynthia and I and you, if you are so inclined, will be having a small group conversation with the Temple Isaiah members. And that will be kind of during our coffee and conversation time. And that will just be through the double doors in the back. And there's a small room that we call the fireside room off of that. And we'll be gathering in there. And again, anyone from Throop is welcome to join in that conversation. If you are new to Throop today, we would love to stay in contact with you. You can fill out an info card that's in the pew back in front of you. If you're joining us on the live stream, there is an online guest book. I think Taryn can get that into the chat at some point this morning. And each one of us is a light in the world, and a flame from our chalice symbolizes and reflects that light.
Our time together in worship is intimately connected with our daily lives. As a symbol of that connection, we light our chalice with a flame from our candles of hope and witness. In his sermon, The Drum Major Instinct, Dr. King wrote, "Everybody can be great, because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love." We light a second candle to honor the people and ancestors whose lands we now occupy. The land under and around Throop was once and is still the home of the Gabrielino Tongva band of Mission Indian people. May this knowledge and awareness lead us into seeking justice and equity for all. We light a third candle symbolizing our watershed, the Arroyo Seco. May their waters continue to nourish life in our communities. We take a moment of silence, holding all of these in our hearts.
Our opening hymn is Love Will Guide Us, number 131. You're invited to rise as your body and spirit allow you this morning. And a reminder, with singing, we encourage you to sing while wearing a mask, number 131.
Be
morning is number 519. And the words that the congregation will respond with are, open us to the ongoing reshaping of our lives. Let's try that together. Open us to the ongoing reshaping of our lives. Let me not pray to be sheltered from dangers, but to be fearless in facing them. Let me not beg for the stilling of my pain, but for the heart to conquer it. Open us to the ongoing reshaping of our lives. Let me not look for allies in life's battlefields, but to my own strength. Let me not crave an anxious fear to be saved, but how for the patience to win my freedom. Open us to the ongoing reshaping of our lives. And grant me that I may not be a coward feeling your mercy in my success alone, but let me find the grasp of your hand in my failure. Open us to the ongoing reshaping of our lives. And this morning, to help us get into the mood of reshaping our lives, moving forward with love and courage, I bring up the Throop players.
Okay. The Lion's Whisker. This is a tale from Ethiopia. A long time ago, a woman in a certain village adopted a child whose parents had died from a disease. She had no children herself, and she wanted this child to love her, but they were not ready to love her because their hearts still ached for the parents they lost. The woman loved them very much already, and she was sad that they would hardly even look at her. After some time, the woman decided to seek the advice from a wise healer in the next village and see if there was some kind of magic potion that would make the child love her as she loved them. The healer thought about it.
There is something I can make, but the ingredients are very difficult to obtain. You must bring me the whisker of a living lion.
The woman felt her heart pound in her chest. What a fearful task! But she thought of her sweet child, and she whispered,
I'll get that.
The next evening, she crept out of the village to the edge of the desert carrying a bowl of meat. She knew that a great lion lived near some rocks in that area. She walked under the night sky as close to the lion as she dared, hearing him roar. She dropped the bowl and she ran back home. Again, the next night, she sneaked away from the house with the bowl of meat. She walked further into the desert this time, until she could see the form of the lion on the distant rocks. She set down her bowl and ran home. Every night she drew closer and closer to the lion before setting down her bowl and fleeing for home. Every night the lion ate her food. Finally, one night after many weeks, she placed down her bowl and stepped back, but did not run. She watched the huge cat come slowly forward and eat from the bowl. The following night, she placed down the bowl and did not move away. The lion came slowly forward and began to eat from the bowl. She reached out and stroked his fur. She said,
Thank you, dear friend.
and she carefully snipped a whistle from his chin. She moved slowly away and then ran all the way to the wise hermit's hut. As she walked into the hut, she called out,
I brought you the whisker of a living lion.
The healer was sitting in front of the fire. They took the whisker and examined it closely.
You have indeed.
And then she dropped it into the fire.
Wait, done! That was the whisker for the potion. You don't know how long it took me to get it. It took me months to win the trust of that lion.
The healer put a gentle hand on her arm.
You don't need any magic potion. You have everything you need right within you to have the love of this child. You have patience and courage and stamina. And with a small step every day and not running away, you'll give the love of the child.
The woman went home, and slowly, drawing on all her love, patience, and courage, she and the child eventually became a loving family. The end.
Thank you. And one of the practices we are embodying this month is the practice of being flexible. And this morning we found out our children's program volunteers who are going to be here today, they woke up and they were sick. Let's have a collective, feel good. And so that means that we are going to invite our children to be in here with us. Although if you have a small baby, it's possible that the nursery will be open. I'm looking at someone who maybe volunteered to do that by email. But I don't see them nodding at me. So we're going to have all of the children in here with us today. And let's celebrate all of any of the joyful noise and spirited laughter and other noises that they will bring into our sanctuary. This morning's pondering moment is by David White, and it's a poem called Start Close In. But before I share the poem, Marian Wright Edelman shares an anecdote about hearing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. speak at Spelman College when she was a young attorney. And she said that one of the things that really struck her when she was listening to him speak was that he didn't pretend to be a great, powerful know-it-all. That Dr. King showed up and was able to discuss openly the gloom, depression, fears he felt, and was able to admit that sometimes he didn't know what the next step would be. And he would then say, take the first step in faith. You don't have to be able to see the entire staircase from where you sit. Just take the first step. And so David White's poem, Start Close In, invites us to embrace our lives with courage. And in the poem, he uses the word step not as a physical step, but just in the sense of being able to move forward. Start close in, don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing close in. Start with the step you don't want to take. Start with your own question. Give up on other people's questions and don't let them smother something simple. To hear another's voice, follow your own voice. Wait until that voice becomes a private ear that can really listen to another. Start right now. Take a small step that you can call your own. Don't follow someone else's heroics. Be humble and focused. Start close in. Don't mistake that other for your own. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing close in, the step you don't want to take. And what is your first step? What's the step you don't want to take? And this church is our spiritual and religious home, and we support it in so many ways. We support it through our gifts of time, our gifts of talent, our gifts of treasure. For those of you that are able to make a financial donation this morning, we thank you so much. You can give in a couple of ways. You can give online, and those are listed in your order of worship, or Taryn will put it in the live stream chat. If you're here with us in the room, you can put an offering in the donation plate that Melissa is about to pass down the aisle. And if you would like your donation to go towards your annual pledge, please put it in that green envelope, but be sure to mark pledge and make sure your name is on it. Thank you so much for all the ways you support our Throop community life. Our morning offering will now be gratefully received.
I'm gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna keep on moving proudly. Keep on moving proudly. Keep on moving proudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. I'm gonna keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving
those that are supporting our worship service. We thank Taryn and Steve on live stream. Marissa for serving as the greeter and the usher. Dre for offering our chalice words this morning. Cynthia for coffee and conversation. Megan with your always inspiring music. Hillary for all of your administrative support. And you know what? I'm going to add someone this morning. Somebody who does a lot of behind the scenes holding of this place, and that is our president of our board, Maureen Harrington. She puts in untold hours and untold love for this church. And so, how about after service, if you have a minute, just express your gratitude to Maureen. Maureen, thank you. Yeah. And so, as we give thanks for today's offering and all the ways we feel the support from our Throop community, you're invited to share in the words for the response to the offering, and that's in your order of worship. For the ministries of the church and our community, we bless our offering with love and hope. And just a reminder, even though families that we don't have our program running today, the rooms upstairs are open, and so anyone who would want to go and sit in the nursery or sit in the calm beauty of the Sophia room, please feel free to do that. We just want you to do what you need to do for you and your families to be comfortable in here today. And we also express our gratitude each week to our earth, which also holds us so beautifully and so well. And I invite you to turn your attention and your mind and your heart to the words of our promise to our planet. That too is in the order of worship, and we share those words together. As members of the family of living beings on earth, we are guided by the Unitarian Universalist principle of respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. With hearts filled with love for it, eyes nurtured by its beauty, and minds ruminating on ways to protect its sacred and scarce resources, we promise to nurture the well-being of all life and of the planet itself. Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am done, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the Precious Lord.
precious Lord, lead me home.
As we breathe into the holy ground of that hymn, I invite you all to take a gentle breath in together. To gently exhale. To take a breath in and close your eyes if that feels right. And exhale, feeling the notes and the message of that hymn. And as we sit in stillness in this collective space, to take this moment and think back on all of the people, all of the situations that your hands have held in the last few days. Your hands may feel bruised from what you have had to hold. They may feel achy. They may feel tired. And yet they have brought you into this space and into this moment. We reflect on all the ways our lives touch the lives of those around us. Breath of life and breath of love, open our hearts and help us move forward in our lives. When we can't muster our courage, when we shut ourselves off from those who encourage us, forgive us and remind us that we are forgiven. When we choose comfort over confrontation that can move the world closer to justice, forgive us and remind us that we are forgiven. When we stand in the way of someone else's forward motion, when we forget to be the encouragers that we are meant to be, forgive us and remind us that we are forgiven. And for all that is our life, we give our thanks and praise. Amen.
We resist, we refuse to let hatred in. We rise up, we won't back down. We're in this till the end. We resist, we refuse to let hatred in.
for today's worship service, and we considered music and readings that would help us remember Dr. King's life and legacy, Megan suggested the hymn, Precious Lord, Take My Hand. This hymn held a special place in King's heart. It's said that it was one of his favorites. And I can imagine the lyric, Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. I imagine that must have helped King move through days of discouragement, helping him take the next step even when it was uncertain. Those close to him say that this was the last piece of music he ever requested. On April 4th, King was in Memphis, Tennessee to speak with and for the sanitation workers, who at that time were some of the poorest and most abused workers in the United States. Musician Ben Branch was in Memphis with King that day, and Branch recounted their final moments together. Branch said that Dr. King and his friends and organizers were at the Lorraine Motel getting ready for an early dinner before that evening's mass meeting. And King was out on the second-story balcony taking a breath, centering himself before that night's activities. And Branch remembers King reaching out and saying to him, I want you to play Precious Lord tonight, and I want you to play it like you've never played it before. And Branch was surprised and said, Dr. King, I do that all the time. And King said, no, but tonight I want you to play it especially for me. Don't forget, I want Precious Lord. Play it tonight. And I wonder if the hymn was playing in King's head as he was making that request, hearing the words, when my way grows drear, precious Lord, linger near, when my life is almost gone. Branch assured him, yes, indeed, I am going to play this song with all my heart, with everything I've got. And with that, King turned back toward his room to retrieve his coat. But before he could cross the threshold of the door, an assassin's bullet took his life. But of course, it can never take away his enduring message of hope and courageous love. Each year on this weekend, we lift up the messages of Dr. King. In his sermon Beyond Vietnam, which was given 1 year before his death, King said, when I speak of love, I am not speaking of some sentimental and weak response. I'm not speaking of that force which is just emotional bosh. I am speaking of that force which all of the great religions have seen as a supreme, unifying principle of life. Love is somehow the key that unlocks the door which leads to ultimate reality. Throughout the year, there are stories that we at Throop return to again and again. Some of these are our own Universalist, Unitarian Universalist stories. Stories like the spiritual power of water that we return to each September as part of our water ceremony. We return to the story of celebrating differences and diversity, the beauty of that when we come in here in June and celebrate our flower ceremony. We remind each other that our gifts are multiplied when we share our gifts with one another. Some of these stories are found in sacred scriptures. We return to the story of Jesus' birth. We return to the story of Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt and out of slavery. Some of these stories we return to are those of prophetic people that challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love, such as the memory and message of Dr. King. We return to these stories because they hold important messages for us. They help us reconsider love as a supreme, unifying principle of life. They help us remember who we are and who we want to be. They remind us that we are not solitary individuals, but that we become fully alive in the grasp of each other's hands. And we return to these stories because in each retelling we hear them differently. We've changed since we last heard it. We've fallen in love or we've fallen out of love. We've had a baby. We've experienced great joy in life, or we've grappled with illness, or we've mourned a death. And society around us changes, and new sensitivities and understandings shape how we experience the story. This year, perhaps because of the pandemic and all that we have gone through together, these past few years, I've been thinking this year about what it must have taken for King to keep moving forward. The sacrifices he made. He gave up precious time with his family. He gave up time with himself. He gave up being able to just pursue the most simplest of pleasures in life. The weariness that must have felt overwhelming at times, constantly being on the road, receiving death threats, getting arrested, pushing, feeling that change would not come soon enough. In Ben Branch's reflection on King's last moments, he describes King as seeming tired, worn, and discouraged. Perhaps praying for someone to hear my cry, hear my call, hold my hand, lest I fall. The hymn Precious Lord was written in such a time. The composer Thomas Henry Dorsey was a gospel musician, and he and his wife were expecting their first baby. He wanted to be at home with his wife as she neared her due date, but he had been scheduled to perform at a big revival, and he felt compelled to go ahead and go and keep that commitment. And so he showed up, and he sang his heart out, and when he went backstage, a messenger ran over to him with a Western Union telegram, and he opened it up, and on that yellow sheet of paper was the message that his wife had died. And so Dorsey rushed on, and that evening, his infant baby also died. And as you can imagine, he was heavy with the most unspeakable grief. And Dorsey says that in that time of his life, he felt disconnected from the God of his heart. And he couldn't see a way forward. He couldn't see a way back to that reconnection. He couldn't see a way back into his life, out of the pain and disappointment and hopelessness that he felt. And it was in that moment that the words to this hymn came to him. And he says that in the writing of it, that's when he found God once more. Later, Dorsey gave the hymn to a friend who introduced it to the choir at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. And Dr. King was the pastor at that time, and King fell in love with the hymn, and it became one of his favorites. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. Until his last breath, King believed that we could reorder our priorities in the United States. He believed that we could center courageous love. He said, there is nothing keeping us from molding a recalcitrant status quo with bruised hands until we have fashioned it into a brotherhood, a siblinghood, a kinship. Each one of you holds your own private grief, your uncertainty about what is to come. You hold it for your own life. I know you're holding it for those near and dear to you. Some of you are holding a lot of fear in your heart for someone who's close to you. You're wondering if they're going to make it through. I'm wondering if our earth and all that our earth holds, is our earth going to make it through? And I know how overwhelming that can feel. And I know that sometimes you wonder if you can indeed keep going. If you can move forward, is it possible? And yes, you absolutely can move forward. And in those moments when you're not sure if you know how, remember to start close in. Remember that we are in the grasp of one another's hands. They may be bruised and achy from holding so much, but here they are, and here you are, and you are not alone in life. And with each one of the breaths that you take, with each connection you make, with each decision to move a little bit more forward in your life, you are doing it and living that courageous love that wants to jump out of each one of us and tend to the world with care and compassion. May we do that each and every day in our lives. And we sing our closing hymn, Answering the Call of Love. It's 10:14 and a teal hymnal. And you're going to notice the words are a little different in the hymnal, and that is because we, as Unitarian Universalists, continue to shape our liturgy and understanding of life. And so the composer decided to move away from the original ableist language of that hymn, which you'll see is standing on the side of love, and instead shaped it to answer the call of love. So we'll sing it in that way today. And I invite you to rise as your body and spirit allows as we sing 10:14. Truth in our passion